What is up, everybody? Welcome to Soundlink Magazine's Facebook page for another live interview. It's been a couple weeks since we've done one, and it's always nice to do these, bring a little sense of normalcy here, mixing into sort of like a podcast format, mixed in with our videos that we usually do at shows. And today we're here with our pal, Michael Skaggs, who plays in the band Outline and Color, to talk about their new EP and what it's like being in a band during this pandemic and all those challenges and just what he's been up to and everything. So how you doing today, Mike?
Pretty good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Work today, and now we're here chatting with you. So,
hell yeah. Pretty much the same, man. Just getting work done.
Yeah, so I'm sure it's like kind of difficult being like distance from people in your band and everything. So, what have you guys been doing to sort of like pass time and sort of like, not be on the road or anything?
Well, this is actually the first time that we've all been living in a pretty close location to each other, like pretty much since the beginning. So we've actually been able to see a bit of each other quite frequently. Actually, way more than before Corona.
Yeah, so I guess I mean, it's kind of like going back. This question is kind of like going back to like the beginning of a band, but it's not, because it seems like 2019 was so long ago with how it was. I had like two Facebook memories pop up today of seeing Oh Sleeper and then Hope's Fall a year before that on this day, and then like us posting a video from a show in Florida. And so I'm just like, wow, it just seems like a complete different world. So I guess take us back to the beginning of 2020 and just like how things were just coasting along normally, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's like stay at home, everybody. So like what was like the state of the band at that point?
And it was kind of like a weird scenario, because we had just kind of done like a vocalist change up in the end of 2019, or the middle of 2019 rather, and we had done the single Ghost of You like in October, November, and we had pretty much decided that we were going to do a full release with Andrew Bayless after just doing that one single. So we, in like November, maybe the end of October, we booked dates with Bayless for like the end of, or the beginning of February until the beginning of March. And it just so happened that like 2 or 3 days before the lockdown order occurred was like when we wrapped on all of our music for the year, basically. So, or at least like all the music we had anticipated recording for the year. So I think Bayless went home on like the 7th or the 9th of March, and it was literally like 2 days after that that everything kicked in full blast. And we're in Oklahoma, and things kind of take a little bit longer to like really hit here because it's a little bit culturally repressed, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So like we weren't really feeling the effects of it prior to the lockdown order. Like toilet paper was kind of like disappearing from stores, but it was like kind of isolated incidents. It wasn't like every store yet. It was just like, oh man, the Walgreens didn't have any toilet paper today, or there's no water bottles at this grocery store. So like it was kind of weird, because going into the lockdown, we had recorded like 12 tracks to put out this year, and that was kind of like our plan for the whole year, was like these 12 tracks, we're just going to work them for a year. And then we just found ourselves with all this abundant free time. So we've been trying to max out on like doing pretty much everything that we can think of. I mean, we've been working on putting together like some sort of live performance, like to stream over the internet. We did one cover like when we were with Bayless, but we just recorded another one this weekend just because, like, why not? And we're already planning like recording another EP for the year, like in October. So it's kind of like crazy. This is like, we're kind of a band that's empirically put out a record every 3 years, 2 at the most, like, and we've basically like, we put out an album in 2019, and we already put out an EP. We have another EP to release, and we're already like kind of getting ready to go do another one. So it's kind of like really shifted us from being like, I mean, as with everyone, we're not like a touring centric band right now. We're a band that makes music, which is really tight, because when we got started, like, sure, we wanted to get like signed and like tour and go places, but like we all got started because we wanted to make music. And from making music, being productive, and like creating aspect, the lockdown's kind of been a blessing in disguise, because sometimes I feel like we get in the touring mentality, and then it's like, oh fuck, we gotta write a record, or we gotta like sit still to write a record, and the whole time we're writing a record, you're just like, oh, I can't wait to tour this stuff. And it's just kind of completely changed the mentality for me, at least, because I don't know, like I'm sure you've heard the term like internet band a lot. And it's like, yo, fuckers, like everybody's an internet band right now. So it's like, you know, from the smallest of local bands to like Metallica level, like everyone is an internet band right now. So it's kind of cool to see some of the bands that are a little more savvy with their social media prowess and their like networking skills. You kind of see some bands are definitely like doing better in this time than others, because they're used to having to do all that stuff.
Yeah, I think something like, you know, that would help, you know, bands at your level and stuff is it kind of, I don't know if it's intentionally time staggered like this, but I watched the Under Oath thing this past Friday for their first album, and then about an hour later, Dance Gavin Dance started their album release show, and so it was like bouncing between two bands. I'm like, it feels like a virtual tour, even though they're doing two completely unrelated things. So maybe, I don't know, bands can start like, all right, this band plays at this time, this stream, and then this band, you know, goes on at this stream, and have like this big night where it's like all these. I know you guys, you know, are friends with Slaves and, you know, bands like that. So, you know, bands like you guys could get together and be like, hey, we're doing this little like 3-band digital package. Here's some merch to buy on our website. You know. So,
you know, it's funny you say that, because the guy that we have like a private investor right now. We don't like have a record label. We're just kind of, it's like DIY, but with like a little bit of financial support, I guess you could say. And the guy that invests in us, he is also an investor in this company in Australia that does live shows, like, you know, streaming shows. Wow. But they have like a higher video and audio encoding rate than like almost anyone. So like they're like, as far as quality goes, they're just like inherently a little bit better than all these other companies that are doing them. So we've been kind of trying to take our time and do something with them. Oh crap! Somebody's trying to call me. Sorry. Sorry, I got sidetracked.
No, you're good.
What was I at? Fuck.
The company's production quality is higher than everybody else.
Sorry, man. That phone call just totally threw me off. I wasn't expecting that. Where were we at? I'm totally
you're talking about the you're talking about the quality of the of that company in Australia.
Oh, right. The video and audio and quality. Man, fuck. Anyway, we've been just trying to like take our time and do something with them, because you know, one, our investor is a part of it, but two, like the inherently better audio and video quality is alluring to us. But that's like something that's been going in my mind like lately, is like, if we could set it up where it's like, I mean, it is kind of weird, like I feel like there's a lot of technological jumps that are happening right now that like we weren't really expecting to happen because of COVID. But it's also cool to see like all this technology get rolled out. But I think it'd be so cool if, you know, you got like a band on the East Coast and a band on, like in the Midwest, and a band on the West Coast, and like get all your time zones lined up and all your technology lined up, and like, you know, be like, okay, from 7 to 7:40 we're gonna have this band in Oklahoma play, and from, you know, 8 to 8:30 we'll have this band in New York play, and, you know, and it like have like a build show, but like nobody leaves their house, you know, or nobody leaves the studio that they're recording at. Rather,
I think we were me and Josh here, our producer over here we're teasing, like trying to get some interest from PR people doing something like that, having our own virtual fest at the beginning of this thing. Yeah, and it just never really came together. And then like all these bands, you know, are like pulling out all this production stuff. And so like a bigger company who actually does that, like maybe like Soundlink or somebody, I could see them doing, you know, something like that, or putting something together like that. I mean, that'd be pretty interesting.
I could too, especially from like the ticketing aspect. But man, like there's like a lot of technology and a lot of bandwidth required to put on a show, and, you know, not have it skip, and have the audio be clean. And I mean, there's just like, from personally like trying to put something together, like the act of putting on a truly live experience, like in real time, is like, wow, like that. Yeah. you almost need like a whole video team and like a production team, like a newsroom or something. You know? Yeah. It's wild.
I mean, they're my favorite band, and I talk about them very highly. But what Under Oath did with this series they're doing right now, just completely, just
killing it, dude.
It was just out of the park. And Silverstein did one on Sunday, and I watched theirs too, but theirs was a little different. Theirs was more like in a studio setup type of thing, like a open floor studio.
Yeah.
But they had like these, but between tunings and all that, they had these funny commercials of their band,
Oh,
you know,
nice.
doing funny ads and stuff like that. Like, buy our record, give us this money. We want your cash now. 1-800 buy our record, you know, something like that. And you know, just like the little funny stuff they threw in there. I mean, obviously the production level wasn't the same, but the entertainment factor, the originality, what they were doing with it was more than just kind of like getting up on stage and playing your songs and that's it. So
totally. And I mean, a lot of bands, especially right now, don't have access to like crazy resources to go like, or even access to studios that have like, you know, proper lighting and sound and stuff to get like the right or alluring like lighting and video and stuff. So I think it's cool, like seeing stuff like, I mean, Silverstein's a really big band, but I think it's cool seeing like bands like take advantage of the viewership in like a different way. They're like, well, we know we can't do like the crazy lighting and the smoke show and the fire and stuff, so like we'll do these videos or these ads or like whatever. That's sick.
Yeah, so you guys just released a new EP recently and everything, and it does have part 1 on there. I don't know if people can read the fine print on the EP, but it does say part 1. So going back to what you were saying about releasing music, you had 12 songs or something. You were talking about that earlier. Did COVID sort of force this to be a part 1 EP, or and this was originally supposed to be like a full length, or what's the story with this EP and everything?
So it's kind of funny because it's again just like something that just kind of ended up working out, but so like our investor, we kind of had to sell him on the idea of investing in music because he's like an affluent man, like he's got investments in other realms or of business, and but he just didn't really understand the music industry, so we had to like kind of educate him on how everything works, which was like kind of a lengthy process and stuff. But he's like a numbers guy, and he basically took all of our data from all over the years, and he made all of these spreadsheets, and he like basically showed us that it would be a better use of our resources to release 2 EPs instead of a single album. And we were kind of talking between doing 2 EPs and an album, like 2 different business models, like for this deal that we kind of put together. And it was kind of like his idea. And, you know, he's, like I said, he doesn't really know a whole lot about the music industry apart from like his own research and like what we've kind of like educated him. And it was just kind of one of those things that we're just like, all right, cool. Like if this is one of those things that we got to do to make a deal, then we'll do it. And because it wasn't like that big of an ask to split our, you know, it's 10 songs or 12 songs, like whatever, how it comes out wasn't really particularly important to us. But it ended up turning out that like once I started like researching a little bit and like trying to figure out how we were going to do our rollout, that you know, because of the relationship we've kind of cultivated with Spotify and them being like super awesome and giving us like playlisting and stuff like that, it kind of made more sense to roll out everything split in 2 because it gives us a chance to shop more of our songs to the editorial staff. Instead of just doing like 3 or 4 singles off the album, we're getting to do, you know, like 6 to 8 off of, you know, 2 EPs. So more of the songs get a chance to reach more ears. And you know, also the way that our deal is structured, it just kind of helps us to be able to have not a super aggressive like marketing approach, but a consistent like long overtime approach, so that, you know, we're not just like blowing all of our marketing like in the first 2 weeks of the EP coming out. We have like a 6-month and a 12-month and an 18-month strategy, so that when we're done with this investment deal and these 2 EPs, and we'll be hopefully closer to where we want to be.
I mean, that's something, I mean, this whole investor thing, I mean, I'm just thinking about it, like that is, I mean, y'all may not be the biggest band in the world, but that is like something I've literally never heard of before. Like, not a manager, not a label, but an investor. Like that's kind of crazy to think about. Like, you know, you think about most of that with like startup companies, and, you know, bands are a business. It is a small business. It is a brand. But like the whole fact that you have this guy who's just like, you know, investing in you guys, like that is, I mean, kind of think of like you going on to Shark Tank and trying to pitch your band to, to those guys on Shark Tank. Like,
I mean,
that's kind of interesting to think about. Like in the future, like what if that becomes like something new, something that becomes a modern thing with bands getting investors before, you know, we're over, you know, like taking labels or whatever.
It's totally possible. I mean, we kind of have an interesting situation. I mean, my band has had various managers over the years, but I've kind of always like run point for the band and been our like facilitator. Like, you know, if we're going on tour, if something's happening, like I'm usually the one that's, you know, figuring out the fine details and stuff. So the guy was kind of just sold on our ability to do things on our own, and I kind of just made the case that, you know, like we put out an album last year, and you know, he's aware of all of the albums we put out prior, and has all the financial information and data and whatever, but he saw what we did last year with our self-titled album, with no help and very limited resources. And I just kind of made the case to him where it was just like, you know, this is what we did with production with very little budget. This is what we did with marketing with very little budget. This is what we did with videos with very little budget. This is where we could take it if we had, you know, X amount of dollars for each of these categories. I mean, it took many months to come to an agreement, but we basically have everything that we wanted to do. It's like it's not like a Fearless Records or Epitaph budget, but it's like what everything that we wanted to do, like within reason.
Yeah. And getting into like the actual EP with the lyrics and stuff, you know, a lot of bands, you know, they do the whole like, this is their best thing ever, you know, we slaved away at this, getting this message out here. And I think for you guys, I'm not just saying this, I really mean it. Like listening to it, like it literally, I mean, I think it is like the best thing you guys have done, and you can actually hear it when you listen to it. And so actually grinding away at this EP and stuff, I mean, you know, it is a handful of songs, but those, you know, they mean a lot to you guys and stuff. And so I guess the creative process, the writing process, you know, what was that experience like, you know, putting this project together?
Man, it's really cool. We've known Andrew Bayless, the guy that co-wrote and co-produced or produced the music that we did this year, for 10 years. The first little tour that we ever did was with his old band Life on Repeat.
I love that band.
Yeah, they're awesome. And he also you know, co-produced that band when he was in it, and we always loved his work, always loved that Struggle Sleep album, and we got to do that Ghost of You single just kind of by accident on a tour that we were on. It kind of worked out with some off dates that we had, and we were just in the area and we needed a place to stay, and it worked out. We got to do something creative, and we just really vibed creatively with Andrew, and from just spending 2-3 days with him doing that single, it was super evident that he was really like an integral piece to the chemistry that we were trying to create with this new sound that we were cultivating in the studio. And I mean, honestly, like everybody played a super important role in the music that we made. Like, you know, Austin we got to rent this like little like trailer home that was like really, really nice, and we turned it into like a drum studio for like a week. And Austin got to like set up with this guy that drove in, Cole from Nashville, that like worked on Picturesque's album. I actually used to play drums for Picturesque back in the day. He came down and like co-engineered drums, and one of our really good friends, Ryan Harvey, that's produced for like some really awesome metal bands, like came in, and he used to like assist for Will Putney back in the day. So we got to have these awesome people come and work with our drummer, and he got to do like what I think he would say is the closest thing to like what's in his head, like came out on the record that he's ever got to do, and which was really cool. And you know, the musical side of it was really awesome, because a lot of the songs we at least started just with Andrew and I. Yeah. And we kind of had this thing where we'd get up at the same time every day. And every once in a while he'd go out and have like a night to himself, because he gets sick and tired of us. But he'd go out and like, you know, have a couple of drinks with some people that he would meet in town. But, you know, there wasn't any like getting fucked up every night or like sleeping way late. Like we had like an allotted amount of days to do the project, and we took it really seriously. Oh man, he's calling in. We took it seriously, and um, it was really cool because I took like a more primary songwriting position, I guess you could say, with Andrew. Like we kind of started at least all of the songs, and I think the coolest part for me was that like I would write these ideas that to me weren't necessarily like the most remarkable ideas, but they were, you know, I write down everything when I'm in a writing headspace, and I think my favorite thing was I would write something that I didn't think had that much life to it, and then John would see it and he would like add melody to some of my lyrics, or like elaborate on a melody that I had, or like add something to it, or a harmony, and it just like it took my ideas and it took them to a place that like I didn't even know that they were possible of getting to, which was for me really really cool. And you know, like I said, everybody got to make their mark on this EP, which, not to say that that hasn't happened in albums past, but I think that this particular collection of songs is the most collaborative work of music that we've made as a band. Like there wasn't anybody getting suppressed by ego or by, you know, personal issues. It was just like everybody knew what they had to do, and we knew how many days we had to do it, and we just took it really seriously, and that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like listening to it, you can hear all that stuff, like, you know, just like the vocals and the lyrics, how it comes across and stuff. And you know, a lot of that the style musically is got sort of like, you know, what, you know, I'm into a lot of days too. The whole like I don't even know what to call it. You can't really call it post hardcore because it's really not that heavy, but it is. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
just that whole like vibey electronic, ambient pop, heavy stuff, whatever you want to call it. Like that's sort of like I hear that stuff and I'm just like, yeah, this is. You know, this is sort of like what I'm into from a band these days, is like that kind of thing where it has that edge to it, but it's still very melodic and stuff too. So it's a little different than the stuff of like 5, 6, 7 years ago, where it's like everybody's like jump, 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 and he goes like a little like a heavy riff, and the guy's singing, and then he goes into screaming. You know, it's a little different. So I mean, it's so that vibe that's a lot of bands are doing nowadays is I think is a lot better than what a lot of bands were doing. So,
well, I don't want to say like it's better. I mean, some people have said that, but like, you know, the way I look at it is we've been a band for 10 years, and it's like, yo, if the album we put out 5 years ago is your favorite album, if the album we put out 10 years ago is your favorite album,
oh yeah,
like fuck yeah, like those albums are available for you to listen to for forever. But
no, Promise is still a sad boy jam. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's still a sad boy jam right there.
We got a sad boy jam on the second part of the EP. That's pretty sad.
Oh man.
But you know, like, we're not the same people that we were 10 years ago, like, or even close. You know, like, we've all grown a lot, not just as musicians but as people, and you know, we just don't want to write the same stuff over and over again. Like we can, like we have like we even did a cover that's coming out pretty soon, relatively. But it's like, it's in kind of like the older, like more empirical, like like bouncy kind of outline. You know? Like, and it's like more like I'm screaming pretty much the whole song, and
nice.
And John is singing pretty much the whole song, and or like, you know, respectively. So it's more of like the traditional outline format, I guess you could say. But we're just really trying to open ourselves up to like more dynamics, I guess. Like we all listen to pop music, we all listen to rock, we all listen to everything. So it's like that. We actually have a couple songs on part 2 that have like some kind of like poppy inspired, like really crazy weird sounding shit, and like some like Marilyn Manson like kind of sounding stuff. So I mean, we just kind of like the mentality was just like, we're down to try anything, but like we got to do it like good. You know, it's got to be legit. It can't be cheesy. But like there's some crazy heavy shit. There's some hip hop stuff. There's some R&B stuff. Like I think that like we're really trying to lean into our name and just
Yeah.
like just do whatever the fuck we want, you know?
Do it,
Like,
man. Yeah. Shout out to also to I think his name is Rue, who did artwork.
dude.
Yeah,
Fucking killed it.
I've met him he's in the Silent Planet fan group and stuff. So like he started there just sharing designs, and then Silent Planet got him on, and then over the last year or so, you name the band, he's done merch for him basically and stuff. And so like what he did with the artwork and stuff was really beautiful. In fact, to make the little promo thing I made last night, I had to message him for the font he used on it just so I could match it to the stuff.
He killed it.
So shout out to him for that.
Shout out to our boy Justice. He took the photo of the flower that's on the cover and really like worked with it to make that. But really killed it, man. I love that dude. And man, even since the time that he's worked with us, like he's already designed merch for like a track that like Ariana Grande was on.
Black Bear.
Yeah, it's like damn, dude, I'm not gonna be able to afford you next EP.
Yeah, like it's like into last year, I saw 1,000 Below, and he did like a long sleeve shirt of theirs I really liked, and so I got it, and I mentioned he killed this design. He's like, oh dude, he's blowing up right now, and then like he's Ariana Grande merch, and he's doing like Black Bear merch, and it's just like, hey, this dude just started out in a fan group, like in a Silent Planet fan group, just making stuff, and they took him on and gave him a shot, and he's just been going up ever since. And so it's like, it's crazy how someone can start and just like that. Like that's insane.
And still legit, like the CD that he just did for us is the first physical CD he's even designed. It's like, man, that's crazy. That's so crazy. It's like that's simultaneously coming out while you also have a design like coming out with Black Bear, or multiple designs. Black Bear.
Yeah. And unfortunately though, unlike music or anything with written, you can't really like put your like name on it so people know it's the same person. So that, I mean, for resumes though, like that's, I mean, people behind the scenes know what he's, know it, but it's like, I kind of feel bad for designers sometimes because like, or photographers, well, depending on, if they can put a watermark on the photo or not for the band, but like, like they create something and then like, they might have 5 different things for 5 different artists, but one person looking at it may not know it's the same person. So like,
totally.
It's kind of a bummer that you can't really do that, but the people, I guess, that matter, that get it all set up and behind the scenes, they know. So that's what's important.
For sure. I think that there's like people that get famous for like doing like a specific style.
Yeah.
And those people like are always like, you can look at their like Alex Party or somebody, you can like look at his stuff and be like, oh, that's Alex Party. But like other people, I feel like they get to the point where they kind of like transcend their own style, where they get to the point where like their skill is emulating other styles, or it's like a customer comes to them and they're like, I want something that's like this and this, and they make something that's unique but is also like a combination of those things. And I think that like those people like never get enough credit. Like you remember Chris Shelley from At the Skylines, the singer, like super tall dude?
I remember that band.
So he was like one of the most talented graphic designers on earth. And like back in the day, like he was like, $50, $100 MySpace layout designs. He did some of Outline's like first merch designs, our first logo.
Oh wow.
And he would probably be mad at me for talking about it, but he's like, now he works for this like huge collective in LA, and he's done stuff for Ariana Grande, for Eminem, like some of the biggest artists
good for him. Yeah.
And his name goes on nothing. Like it's all part of a collective,
Yeah. Well, thank God for Instagram and all that, so you can like at least upload your stuff and and so people can find it. But before we let you go, I did actually ironically hear a funny story this week and stuff on a podcast.
Tell me.
So Courtney from Spirit Box was on Shane's Lead Singer Syndrome podcast, and she told a story when she joined the band.
No way.
Yes.
Holy shit.
And how you answered the door at this mansion or whatever, at this party or something.
Okay, that's not exactly what happened. But she's done enough tours and stuff that I forgive her for probably not remembering little old me.
Oh, but, we got another side here coming out.
Let me set the story right. So this was like the Warped Tour that Krista from Iwabo got pregnant.
Yeah.
And this was like day 1 of
Warped
Tour.
She said all that.
So like at the time, Outline was managed by the same manager as Iwabo, and Jason from I think it was Blackheart Group at the time. He's now works for like Live Nation or something, or Rock Nation. So he's like doing it. But he gives me a call and he's just like, "Yo, Krista from Iwabo, like she's not going to be finishing the tour, and we found this girl in Canada, but like flights are crazy, and like we have to get her there like tomorrow." So anyway, long story short, they're like, "We're gonna fly her to Tulsa, Oklahoma," and somehow somebody in Iwabo had like some family that lived in Muskogee, which is like an hour from where I live. And they just had this like crazy mansion, and they're all just partying because it's like the 4th of July or like the day before the 4th of July or some shit. And anyway, like,
No, cut out. I think we lost. Oh, there he is. Okay. Yeah, we lost you for a second.
Oh, fuck. I was just saying, I had like literal.
It's like when the good stuff. It's like when the good stuff comes. It's like it glitches out.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but like I was like dying from heat stroke, but like Outline was still really new. Like our manager was like a big deal, and like I was like not gonna like not come through for him. So I picked up Courtney like without ever meeting her at the airport and drove her like an hour away, like just like us, just me and her sitting in this car, never meeting each other before. And it's like, back then, like my band was first started, all these exciting things were happening. Like we got this crazy awesome manager, and here she was, like she was from a local band in Canada that was like pretty like poppin', but like not like really big or anything. And her biggest like influence was Krista from Iwabo. So like she was very like shooken up and like not like she was definitely ready for it, but she was scared, like just like what are they gonna think. And at this point she didn't know if it was just going to be for that tour or if it was just like if it's going to be a permanent thing. And anyway, we drive this hour drive, and she's just like, "Oh, do you want to check out this song of my band?" Like, do you want to check out my band? And her shit was like way heavier than us, and we have like super high singing, and we're both like kind of like, obviously she's fucking amazing, and our music was like good, so we could respect each other's shit, but I could tell that like our shit was definitely not her style. But yeah, man, so like I take her to meet all the guys in Iwabo, and like she met up with them, practiced a little bit, and they're all like getting drunk and shit. And I think like one of them was like, "Hey, we should practice," and everybody's like, "We should get fucked up." And they finally practiced, and like it went pretty well, and they hopped right on Warped Tour like the very next day, and like the rest is history, man. Like, she went on to do like a world tour with them, and man, I think like I loved her in Iwabo, but I think the stuff that she's doing with Spirit Box is the coolest shit ever.
Yeah, like I listened to the record they put out a couple years ago, and then I heard like the newer stuff they dropped recently, and I was just like, oh my god, that girl's got some. She can do it all. She's got some pipes. She's got a beautiful singing voice. Like she's on that band's about to take over everything.
Yeah, and the way that she transitions between like screaming and singing and like everything in between is just like it's so dynamic, and it's so cool. Like it's so like cleanly executed.
Yeah. All right, man. Anything else you got for the people here, or any news? Anything you want to say before we let you go?
Listen to Imposter Syndrome, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff / Outline in Color. Do it.
All right, man. All right. Well, you have a great night, great rest of the weekend. We'll be in touch.
Hey, you too, man. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
See ya.
See ya.